What's going on, everybody? Inside this video here, I'm going to be sharing the convert framework, which is the exact sales process that I've used to scale my offer and go from a 20% close rate at a $2,400 offer for 6 months to a 63% close rate for a $4,800 offer for 6 months with pretty much the same deliverables. So I'll be going over the convert framework inside of here. Currently, I'm not selling anything. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to start in the next couple of months, but currently this is just information for you guys here. I'm just going to be sharing lessons that I've learned from a couple years inside of the fitness space, primarily working with corporate executive women. I'm going to share some lessons from the B2B space where I worked on an offer where we helped online fitness coaches scale their own businesses. And I'm going to share some lessons from offer management that I've done for a couple clients who needed to scale some sales teams, hire some sales reps, and even some setters too. Overall, the purpose of this video is really to help fitness business owners at least 30K a month. It can definitely be beneficial for people who are under that, but primarily people who are already taking at least 10, 20 calls a week, and you're really stuck closing 20 to 30%, but you want to be closing at 40 to 60% so you can double or triple your business with no additional ad spend. Now, if you're watching this video here, I do have something free currently that I'm kind of rolling out, so you probably would have seen this video if you're inside that community as well. But we have about 1,100 people inside this community, and it's going to be a community specifically talking about these same topics. So if you want to learn more about it, feel free to join in. It's completely free at the link down below, and let's dive into the video here. So the convert framework starts with connection, okay? So when we get on a call with prospects, the biggest issue that I see with a lot of fitness people is they try to build rapport. Now, the problem with building rapport nowadays is everyone knows what you're trying to do, right? If you got on a sales call and you're like, "Hey man, how's everything going? How are you doing today? Oh, awesome. That's great, Mary. And where are you coming from? Oh, I'm in Chicago." Like that kind of stuff nowadays, people really sniff it out very quickly. And so what I realized over time and spending hundreds, well, I wouldn't say hundreds of thousands, but over $100,000 on sales training and coaching and overall understanding the high ticket space is that people are very adept to who salespeople are and what's going on in those conversations. So what I started doing on my sales calls is jumping straight into it. Okay. So it's literally, "Hey, saw that you booked this call about possibly getting some help to lose 30 pounds. Is that right?" Right. I put them into results-based thinking. They say yes. I can sometimes do a pre-frame. So you can do a pre-frame where you're like, "Hey, awesome. So purpose of this call is really to understand your goals, understand what has worked, what hasn't worked, and at the end, see if we could even help you." Sound good? Yes. You can do that. Or you can just jump straight into it and be like, "Cool. So what prompted you to book this call today?" Right? You can do something like that. But overall, the whole point of connection in the first part of the convert framework is to just get into the meat and potatoes and show them that you're not like the other salespeople. You are a trusted advisor. For me specifically, with my demo, right, when they're 40 to 60-year-old women talking to a 20-year-old man, I'm 22, but when you're talking to a younger guy, you have to be the authority in their mind and you have to listen very, very well. And you have to be very emotionally intelligent. Okay. It's a little bit different selling to women than it is to men. Men in the B2B side, obviously I'd sell a little bit different. Women, I'm going to be a lot more, emotional with them and just understanding and listening. And you guys will be able to see like call recordings inside of the community on School. So you guys will be able to get a little bit of more of understanding what I'm talking about. But you'll see in those calls, I start every single call the same way. And it's because you have to have a process. So that's really connection. You really just want to get into the meat and potatoes of the call right away. You want to address the problem, get them to agree on that, and then get into the next phase, which is observe. Okay. In the observe phase, this is really just getting where they are currently at. Okay, so what I would typically do with my demographic is ask them, "Hey, how old are you? How much weight are you currently at? How much weight do you want to lose?" Right? I'm asking all these questions to really just see a broader picture. Now, if you have an offer and you sell gut health, or you're working with men and they want to build muscle or body fat or lose body fat, etc., get a six pack, you can obviously tailor those questions. And I'll have another video going over the scripts, but realistically in this phase, you're just trying to get where they are currently at and get an understanding of their baseline. So I'm asking them age, what their current weight is, what their goal weight is, how long has it been since they've been at that weight, if they've ever been there before, and honestly, why they've struggled with their weight during this time. So in the observation phase, all I'm looking to do is get a little bit of an understanding into the struggle of why they're stuck. Okay. Now, big issue that I find with a lot of fitness professionals that I've trained in sales is a person will go, "Oh, food. I just can't handle food, right? And they'll just accept that answer and move on right into the problem phase, which I'm going to get into in a second. But basically, in this phase here, you have to have an understanding of why they struggled and ask the obvious questions. Okay. A lot of salespeople, when they're reading off a script, they just get into script mode and they're like, cool, got an answer, on to the next question. What's super important during these questions is to be very intentional about it and make sure you're getting the deeper level answers that you need to be getting. So it's not just, oh, I struggle with eating. It's okay. And what do you mean by that? Oh, I struggle with eating because I eat really late at night. Okay, and why do you feel like you might eat really late at night? Well, I get really busy at work and then I get really stressed and then I start eating. Okay, so you might have some like stress or emotional eating. Is that fair to say? Yeah. Okay, how long has that been happening for? Oh, well, that's been happening for the last 5 years. Okay, cool. And what have you tried so far to fix that? Have you tried anything? No, I haven't. Okay, why haven't? Like, there's a lot of pathways that you can get down, but you see how, obviously I'm role playing with myself here, but like you can see how more emotional the questions get and you can expand on the main problem of why they have struggled with their weight for the past couple of years. Now, getting in the next section, it's really name, okay? So we want to name what the problem is. And that's what I'm alluding to in the previous section. That really ties into the next section here where we can look at what they've done, okay? So what have you tried in terms of nutrition, exercise? Oh, I haven't tried anything. Why haven't you tried anything? It's funny training people on sales and there's obvious questions that need to be had and they'll just be like, oh, okay, cool. You haven't tried anything. All right, cool. No, like, why haven't you, right? The only way you're going to build authority on these calls and really build a connection with these people is not by talking about the weather, not by building rapport, but by actually uncovering their problems in the sales process and understanding what's actually going on, right? At the deepest level possible so that they're like, oh, shoot, I never thought of that. How did Ethan know that? Wow, Ethan really understands my situation. That's why people pay you $5,000 or $3,000, not for a simple process, but for an actual in-depth conversation that helps them to feel like you can solve their problem. So in this section, we're just looking for what they've really tried in the past, what has worked, what was the most effective option, right? So some people may be like, oh, I loved keto. I tried keto and it was amazing and I lost 30 pounds, right? Cool. Are you still following it now? No, you're not. Why are you not following it now? Right? It's simple questions nowadays, but it's the questions that matter. Because what would you say to a friend in that moment if someone came to you and they're stuck not losing weight and they lost 30 pounds with keto before? What would you say to that person? Why the fuck are you still not doing keto? Right? It's the obvious question. Most people miss it. And if you miss it, then that prospect is going to do what? Think in the back of their mind for the rest of the call, I can go back to keto. So we have to kill off any solutions that they've tried before that have worked or haven't worked, right? There are going to be different levels to this. And I'll have so many different videos going over this, but the process is understanding their problem, understanding what they've tried, understanding why it didn't work, and more importantly, why they can never go back to that solution again and why they need something different. So throughout this process, I'm always tying off problems. So I'm like, okay, cool. So keto, you lost weight. Why didn't you stick with it? Oh, it was unsustainable. Okay, so keto isn't something you want to do for the rest of your life. No, of course not. Cool, awesome. And what about Weight Watchers? Oh, Weight Watchers, blah, blah, whatever, right? Ultimately, throughout this process, all I am trying to do is get them to admit they don't know what they're doing and they need help. Right? So in this process too, final question I'll typically ask is basically, okay, and help me to understand why you might look at getting some help with this as opposed to trying to figure it all out by yourself. This ultimately gives them the layup to either say, oh, I don't know why I need help, or say, Ethan, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help, right? And the answer you want from that question is the latter. You need them to admit they need help. If they come to you in that question that you ask, I will give you guys a script too. But if they give you that question and they give you an answer like, oh, I don't know, I just thought it'd be cool. You did a horrible job in these sections here, right? And this is where the call and the sale is really made. If you can do a really good job in your problem phase, you can crush fitness calls. And this used to be the biggest problem for me. And that's why I want to explain this so in depth is that if you mess this phase up, you will miss out on so many deals because people will not really tell you what the problem is. And you'll get to the end of the call and then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, and by the way, I worked with this trainer and he was horrible and I don't really think that training works. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm screwed, right? You're going to get this objection right before you drop price. And now you're going to try and have to handle fear right before you drop price, as opposed to handling everything in this section here. So this section is so important for handling objections before they come up and understanding why they failed. So if there's any fear, any other problems, then you know exactly what to do. Okay. Next phase here is verify. Okay. So what I really like to do in this phase is be a little bit more challenging, you could say. So we've gone through everything. We know what they've tried. We know what they haven't tried, what worked, what didn't work, where they're currently at, what their goals are. Really, this section is pretty quick and easy. All I'm looking to understand is, why have they not done this sooner? Okay, so I'm gonna ask questions like, cool, and have you ever gotten help before? Yes, I have. Cool, how did that go? Or, have you? No, I haven't. Why not? Right? I want to understand why they haven't done anything in the past, because then I can understand their intention behind getting help, right? I can ask questions like, cool, so you haven't gotten any help in the past. What makes it so important for you to do now, right? That shifts it into the frame of, well, if I'm taking my health more seriously, I need to get a coach, or I need to get a solution for this, right? Back of their mind kind of stuff. Or you can ask them questions like, cool, so you haven't done it for the past time. Are you sure now is the time to prioritize your health? Yes, it is. And then the common questions everyone, asks on a sales call, why now, right? There's a lot of ways you can ask a why now question. You can be like, why now? Most people end up pushing it off the road for a couple weeks, couple months. Like, what makes you actually want to prioritize your health? Or you can ask, what's shifted for you recently that made you feel like you needed to take a priority on your health, right? A million different ways you can phrase it. For the people that I train in sales, I typically say read the script word for word, because then you're actually following a process and it's a lot easier. But if you guys are more advanced, you can use your own variations of the words, shorten it, whatever. I do it all the time on calls, but it's because I've kind of mastered the script in this process. So really here, the answer you're looking to get from prospects is why they have not done anything before. There needs to be like a reason. It can't just be like, oh, I was lazy. Okay, well, expand on that, right? We want to get to the deeper level of the problem. And then ultimately, once you get that answer, you ask them why they haven't started. They give you a real answer. And then the final kind of really main phase, I would say, that we want to get into is evoke. Okay, so we want to evoke emotions from these people. Now, what we want to do in this section is really get into the current pain of their situation and the future pain that is going to come up as well. Okay, so what we want to do overall is basically talk to the prospect and ask them, cool, so we know why they want to do it, right? And a real reason why they want to do it, not like, I want to get healthier, I want to get fitter, whatever. Like, I don't want to get diabetes. I don't want to not fit into clothes anymore. I don't want to go 5 sizes up. I don't want to be 200 pounds, right? Like, a real reason why they want to start. Then we want to get into how this weight that they currently have is affecting them. So I'll ask them a question like, okay, and just to bring it back to where you're currently at, how is having these extra 30 pounds, impacting you, right? They're going to say, oh man, it's just the day to day, the frustration that I feel, XYZ, XYZ. And I'll be like, okay. And how long has that been going on for? Well, it's been going on for, the last 5 years. Okay. And how often does that kind of come up for you? Like, you feeling this way, you not being able to play with your kids, you not being able to wear the clothes you want to wear, whatever they've told you so far. All you're doing in this process is evoking emotion and bringing it up. Okay. So you take it from, oh, I have some back pain. Oh, how long has the back pain been going on for? Last 5 years. And when do you kind of notice the back pain? Like, do you notice it every couple months, every couple weeks? No, I notice it every single day. Oh, every single day. Wow. And like, what do you mean by every single day? Like, how so? Oh man, it's like debilitating every single day for the last 5 years. Oh yeah, 5 years. Yeah. Okay. Like, do you see how much deeper of a problem that is? Typically in fitness, like selling to women, this is the easiest phase ever. And this will make you all your money. Like, I'm saying, once you have a problem and you verify why and you evoke enough emotion, the rest of the call should be a cakewalk. It should be the easiest thing ever. Okay. So it is so important for you to get this phase nailed down, because it really make or breaks your calls. And then once we have enough emotion, what we want to do is then future pace. Okay. So we want to go from, hey, everything's really, really bad. This is the worst possible situation. You've been dealing with all these problems for the last 5 years. To then, what would life look like if we fix this? Okay, so over the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever your program is, what would life look like if we were to resolve these problems? Boom, 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 boom. Cool. And if you really thought about it, like, what would you do differently? Okay, so I'm just asking questions that really paint the picture in their mind, right? When you're asking these questions, and every single question, I'm not asking it at this pace. I'm not asking it at this tonality. I'm slowing down, especially during these phases here, right? This phase, I'm going to be slowing down emotionally. This phase, I'm going to be more challenging or skeptical. This phase, I'm going to be more understanding, right? Just very curious tone, okay? Now, in the final aspect of this phase, once we have their problem really laid out, all the emotional issues, once we have the future really desire kind of built out as well, the final thing to do is ask like a cost of inaction question. So my only concern is what happens if you don't go out there and get the right help, tie it back to you, but don't say you, say get the right help, and this problem were to continue to get worse. Like you were to go from 180 to 185 to 190 to 200, and you were to go from a size like 12 to a size like 16. Like what would happen then, right? A little bit emotional in terms of my term, but what I typically get from women when I ask this question is, oh my gosh, never, I could never let that happen. Oh my gosh, I don't want to let it get to that point. Like I need to do something now. I'll have people cut me off during the cost of inaction question. Okay. Now you got to do your due diligence a little bit. If the prospect is cutting you off like, oh, I'd never let it get there. It's much different than, oh my gosh, I'd never let it get there, right? Different tone, different purpose. If someone said the first option, I'd be like, why not though? Second person, I may just roll with it because I've already done a great job this call and I know ultimately the person is ready to buy basically. So cost of inaction, what we're looking to really get at is the emotion again. You take them very low, then you bring them very high, and then you bring them very low again, right before you overall pitch and reveal your program. So during this process, make sure that you get a clear answer from them why they cannot continue doing what they've been doing. Final thing before you just get, price and everything like that is to reveal the solution, okay? Now, typically for me with my pitch and everything, there are different sales processes for this, and this is why I think fitness-specific sales training is so important. It's because ultimately in the B2B space, in a bunch of different offers, people say like, okay, make up 3 different pillars on the call and tailor them to the person. So nutrition, workouts, and accountability or whatever. Like, I think that is the worst fucking thing in the industry is nutrition, workouts, and accountability as your pillars because you are just selling your program. And if you say things like, oh, we do customized nutrition, customized workouts, we have a coach that holds you accountable, or I have 24/7 accountability, you are a commoditized service. Nobody gives a flying fuck about what you offer. Like, literally, I'll tell you, after taking all of these calls and closing hundreds of thousands of dollars, like, literally nobody cares about the program. The deliverables are negligible in fitness because everyone knows what it is, right? This is, again, why fitness-specific sales training is so important because specificity in fitness is not really relevant, right? If you're doing B2B and I'm like, okay, you're going to get, 3 group calls a week and you're going to get, 1 monthly one-on-one with me and you're going to get call reviews, like something like that makes sense. Sophisticated buyer, right? It makes a lot of sense, but I'm going to be honest. I did this same exact convert framework when I sold B2B. Literally did not tell them any of the fucking deliverables and people bought from me. Why? Because they cared more about the conversation and that I could solve their problem and more of the process as opposed to the actual inner layers of that process. So in this section here, when we reveal the program, my favorite way to do it, and this is what I recommend, and you'll have the script for this, is basically having them understand that the program is effective, right? So it actually works. It's enjoyable. It's something they can follow, and that they have support and accountability. Okay. Now, you can tie your inner pieces into this overall. What I mean by that is, like, for my offer specifically, we did lab testing, hormonal adjustments, supplementation. So in the effective part of the script, I would tie in some of those aspects. So I'd be like, hey, by the way, also, we do hormonal and lab testing to make sure it's customized to you. We overall plan your nutrition based on your travel schedule, based on your work schedule, your commutes, your board, meetings, etc. We do your workouts based on if you're, going on a flight, you're in a hotel gym, or you're at home, or you're going to the gym, right? Like, use terminology that your avatar would understand and accept, but don't sell too much into your ideology. Okay. So again, effective, I'd throw those things in. Enjoyable. All I want to do is make the program sound as easy as possible to follow, right? People do not want complex things. Complex things make people think. And what does that lead to? Oh, I need to think about it. Oh, you said that we have 3 workouts a week. I don't really want to work out. I have to think about it. Oh, Ethan, you said that I have to eat on a meal plan. Oh, I don't really want to do that. I have to think about it. Oh, you said that I have to track my calories. Oh, I want to think about it, right? Like, the more little inner lanes that you give into your program, the more the prospect is not going to want to do it. Okay. And I've done this so much with clients. I have clients who are like, oh, let me show you inside the program. Let me show you like the trainer eyes and the workout stuff. Like, you think it's helping, but there's 2 sides to every single coin whenever you give more information. The first one is they love it, right? They're like, oh, well, that's actually exactly what I'm looking for. And those people are lay down people. You would have closed them anyways because they already wanted coaching. The second person is the person who sees, oh man, that's a lot of stuff. Like, I'm really busy. I'm really high level. I make a ton of money. I can't really fit that in my lifestyle. And ultimately, you're shooting yourself in the foot by giving away your program and telling them what it is because, again, they don't really give a fuck what your program is. And so you explaining more information about it just leads to nothing. There's no benefit to doing it. So for me, I like to ultimately, in my pitch, really just focus on making it sound easy, effective, enjoyable, and that there's going to be support and they have help along the way. As long as they understand those things, they're good to go. And here's the biggest thing too. You may be like, Ethan, but like, what if these people hate counting calories and I sell counting calories? Do you understand how many people I've had to say, oh, Ethan, I hate MyFitnessPal. I'm never going to use MyFitnessPal. I pitch, same way I pitch. Once they get into the program, guess what's there? MyFitnessPal. And guess what I tell them? This is what you have to fucking do if you want to be successful. And they're like, okay, makes sense. And of course, I have a great coaching team, so we can help them like understand how to do it properly and implement it and get great results. But the point is like, I've had people say, Ethan, I'm never working out. And then a month later, they're working out 4 times a week at the gym. So they really will just listen to you once they're a client, but they will not listen to you when they are not a client. So very, very important. Actually, one more thing. One more thing about this entire process. You do not coach on these calls, okay? This is actually like very specific to fitness, so I probably should have said this, but a lot of fitness coaches will reward clients or coach them throughout the call. So let's say you're in one of these early phases and they're like, oh yeah, I'm down 30 pounds. If you go, oh, that's awesome, really good job. Like, what have you been doing? Oh man, you're done. You're done. Why? Because like I said in the beginning, if they have any inkling that they can do it on their own or a solution that they tried worked before and it doesn't cost any money, they will do that. Who wouldn't? Who would spend money on something that they could do on their own? Nope. Like, nobody's going to spend money. They'll do it on their own, right? So very important on these calls. Do not coach them, right? It's all about finding information, expanding gaps, getting an understanding of the situation, and becoming the trusted advisor, okay? So once we've really revealed the program to them, the final piece is really to transact, okay? Now, by transacting, what I mean is we want to overall understand they are in a position to even buy in the first place. So what I typically do, and honestly, most people recommend, is after you drop the price in the program, then you can go into kind of checking for fear and asking questions like, okay, cool. And, after going over everything with you, do you feel like this could be, the answer for you? I'm going to be kind of skeptical. I want them to justify it to me. They're going to be like, yeah, I do. Okay, why do you feel like it could be? Right? Any positive inclining, I'm going to ask why. Any negative one, like, no, I don't feel like it could. Well, then you're fucked, right? Like if somebody says, I don't think it can help you, you're just not closing. So you messed up somewhere in here, right? Somewhere throughout the entire process. And that's why call reviews are important. But ultimately, if someone says, yes, it can help me, you ask, why can it help them? And then they say, oh, because of this, this, and this. And then I typically just do a confirmation statement like, cool. So if you had that would put you in the best position to actually be able to accomplish XYZ goal. Yes, it can. Cool. Now I'm ready to drop the price. Now, when I drop price, I would typically just be like, cool. So we've gone over the basis of what you're looking for. Really, next steps, go over the investment, set you up on your onboarding call with your coach, and really, get all of our systems in place and set up for the next, 6 months or whatever your program duration is. Going over all that, cool with you? Cool. And then I basically go, cool. So the investment itself is just $4,800 for the next 6 months. Now, we do have a ton of different ways to break that up if you need, but some clients do prefer to pay it up front if they can. Now, this is actually kind of like, it could be controversial in some people's minds in the fitness space, especially like B2B high ticket. People just say, cool, so it's $4,800. How do you want to proceed, right? I think for fitness, especially if you have a higher ticket offer, it makes so much sense to say in the drop of the price that you have options to break it up. Why I say this is because you immediately eliminate fear around money. As soon as you say that there's options to break it up, the prospect goes, okay, big number, possible to break it up though. All right, right? The biggest mistake that I find in fitness is when people just cold drop the price, say, hey, it's $5,000, and the prospect sits there quiet and you sit there quiet and you wait for them to talk. It is so stupid in fitness because people are so fearful on these calls and they've already probably wasted so much money. So anything you can do to stand out in terms of just being like, yeah, and I do it so nonchalantly. I'm like, yeah, and we have tons of ways to break it up if you need, but some people do prefer to pay it up front if they can. No worries. No worries. If you can do it up front, no worries, right? Like it's super easy, super calm. And by doing it that way, a lot of people will be like, oh, okay, like I probably just need to break it up. Cool. And then I'll just check for, fear around money and make sure it's literally just like logistics. But a lot of the times on my calls, I will say, and you'll see in the community, I will only ever get logistical money, and it will literally just be the quickest thing ever. It'd be like, cool, can we finance it? Yes. Cool, we're using Affirm or Klarna. No, we can't finance it. Okay, how do you want to do it? 2 pay, 3 pay? Cool, done, right? Or someone will be like, oh, I really can't do that. Like my credit's bad or my, it's too much per month. Cool, let's look at 3 months. And that's when we get into downselling and things like that. But ultimately, this process sets you up in the best possible position to get literally the only objection you ever get is logistical money. Like, and you guys, if you're selling like 3K, 4K, you guys should have no problem with money. And I typically recommend going after like, richer demographics and selling a better service and different, things and tiers in front of it. But, and especially at scale, if you're trying to grow your business at scale, you need higher prices. But if you're selling like 3K, 6 months, like it should be no problem at all. It's like, dude, like if I'm closing 63% at 4,800, if I had a 3K program for 6 months, I'd close 100. Like it'd be a no-brainer at that point because the financing per month is going to be like $80 with Affirm. So you can, and it's with Affirm for 4,800, 36 months, like 166 a month. So it's like, it's a no-brainer for people, even people who just don't have money, right? So I'd sell to people 5K 6 months who do not have the capital, and they'd still finance for a couple years just because I did a very, very good job explaining this. And I also have a great product and people get great results. So, those are all important. But ultimately, this is the convert framework, right? So inside this video, we covered exactly what you need to do in terms of your process. This is just the process video. I'll have a script breakdown in the coming days here. But realistically, you'll be able to go through this process step by step and understand this is really the outcomes of what I'm looking for in each particular part of the script. Now, again, I'm currently not selling anything. I do have a free school group that you can feel free to join down below if you want to learn more directly from me or if you want to understand a little bit more about this process and some of the more lessons that I'm going to be sharing along the way. And if you are a fitness business owner at 30K above and you want to increase your closing percentage, feel free, join the school group, send me a DM, and we can talk about maybe how I could even help you in a little bit more of a personal way. Talk to you guys soon.